that when you do a cast, it's the rod straightening out, going from that point to that point, that throws the sinker, right? That's how they think it works. Let me tell you today, that has got nothing to do with it. Zero, right? What actually happens is, right, that rod will remain in that position whilst you've got your thumb trapping it, trapping the reel. That will hold that there, right? The second you let your thumb go, that's it, right? That rod straightening up does not push that line, it does nothing. The cast has already been committed, it's gone. Okay? So that has got nothing to do with it. So, if you look at a caster who's really overloading his rod, he's got a 12-foot rod, right? We know that the longer a rod is, the faster it is at that point. If you rotate that shaft, the quicker it is here. There, over ground cover. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you took a rod and you did 3 miles an hour here, it'd be doing, and it was 50 foot long, it'd be doing 20 miles an hour out of the tip.
Yeah.
Do you get me? You look a little...
No, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Alright, so if we take a rod and we commit to a cast and we overload the rod, that tip is now shorter.
Shorter.
So it's going slower.
Oh.
Got it?
Yeah, that's
right. So what you really want to do, take advantage of the rod, get it so you can load it. It needs to be loaded, but you try and really keep the rod inside its lockdown, right? The minute you go over it, you've reduced its distance, the tip is slower. You will not achieve the same distances. So all that energy you're putting in too early is working against you.
I see.
But if you started early, but you didn't power it, you just had a steady increase.
Well, that's fine. That's great. You're not doing that. That's fine. Okay. That's super. That's absolutely super. But when you get, especially new people, their energy input is all at the beginning of the cast, and all it does is collapse the rod and makes the rod shorter.
Interesting.
Now, we might have to make this class more than one day because we're going over just the basics of why we pick a rod and do stuff, right?
Yeah.
So when you're selecting a rod for what you want, the whole thing is a balance, all right? And it really comes down to, you've got to be very specific on what you're targeting, and the objective of the game, in my mind, is to use the lightest, smallest thing to catch a particular fish that I'm after and have enough line and enough power in the rod to bring that to where I want it. Is that correct? I mean, because you could say, okay, I'm going to go out there and throw this massive chunk of meat. So you've got to have a clear focus on what your objective is when we're talking about it. Now, a lot of people do not comprehend there's an absolute balance between lure size, reel size, rod size. They've all got to be balanced. If you're throwing a 1/4 ounce jig head, it is no good sitting there with a 6500 size reel. It will not do it because the reel itself, the lure will not have enough energy to start the reel rotating. If you use too much weight, it will empty the spool and you're left with nothing. So when you're picking the blank, feel your blank, you need it to do exactly what I said. It needs to be able to achieve lockdown with the selected weight you're choosing to cast. Alright, so if it's 1/4 ounce, you need to be able to feel it and be absolutely sure that you can achieve lockdown with that particular thing. So the whole thing has got to be in balance. The rod has got to be able to load and achieve the lockdown we're talking about for the desired weight we're going to throw. Okay, once you've made that decision, and you can do that, I mean, just look at your charts and that, but really you need to feel that rod yourself and decide what you're going to do. When I get loads of phone calls, and there's two of the silliest questions I get, but it's not a silly question, is how far will I be able to cast with your X model rod? That's like phoning up Nike and saying, how high can I jump if I put your trainers on? I mean, it's unknown, because, you know, I mean, I've seen them trainers jump 7 foot. Whether you can or not is something else. Do you know what I mean? So that's one of the questions. And the other thing is, they'll say, I want, you know, this rod. And I ask them what they're doing. I'd rather them say, I live here, I fish the beach, I want to catch this size fish, and I cast this weight. Then I can tell them what they want.
I want to hit 700 feet.
So keep practicing. Now there's a classic, right? The equipment you've got is perfectly capable of 700 foot. We know that, right? Because we've seen it done. There is this, the last thing the fisherman ever wants to blame is himself, right? He will buy his way out of trouble. He will say to himself, he will convince himself that no, it ain't me, it's that reel. Or it ain't me, it's that rod. Or it's not me, it's the bearings. You know, but normally I can guarantee you it's form and practice. Once you've got X level of equipment, it comes down to form and practice.
I know it's me.
It's weird, isn't it? It's the truth.
Me too.
You will be amazed how many people I'll come in here and they'll go, no, it's the bearings need replacing. Or they'll turn up and they've got this $500 frame and what you call it. And I ask them, I let them, because I love watching it, but I go, well, how did that help you? You know what I mean? You leave them for a week, they haven't achieved anything more, because really their focus should be on their technique rather than spending thousands of dollars on this thing.
So what you're saying is, when we go casting, don't worry about distance, just throw it and get your form.
Form is critical.
And it'll come naturally.
It will come, I promise you.
Okay.
It's like, you know, it really is. The best way I've said to describe it is, if I said to a tournament caster to open that door, right, a typical tournament caster's mindset is that he don't walk towards it, right, don't focus on this step, this step, this step. He wants to stand there and go and open the door. Do you see what I mean? He can't reach it. Focus on each step of the cast.